So look, are you excited this morning? I know people at home are going to be thinking, oh no, not more of the England manager's job, but it is the main headline absolutely everywhere this morning. Unless you're Welsh, of course, in which case you're celebrating another win last night. Congratulations.
Well done, Craig.
We will touch on that a bit later in the day. Are you excited about the prospect of potentially having Pep as the England manager, although yesterday we were told that Thomas Tuchel was 2-1 on favourite?
Yeah. Look, I think I'm going to say first and foremost, Jeff, I cannot believe the FA have got it, the England football team find themselves at this point where there are question marks, there are ifs, buts and maybes, is he, will he, won't he, and all of that at this stage of this particular season. I'm staggered because you didn't have to be Mystic Meg and Russell Grant to know that Gareth was probably going to go. It's their job at the FA to make sure that they have the right pieces in place if that was going to happen. Lee's gone in and you know, Lee is a very solid operator. I personally said a couple of weeks ago that I felt this job was a bit too much for him at this stage. And the last few days, the poor guy's got himself in a muddle and a bit of a mess. And it's their fault. It's their fault. It's someone at the FA. They're the guys that are the kingmakers, and they haven't done their bit, I don't think. This should be done. This should be secured. England should have a manager ready to rumble. Not wait till next year, for goodness sakes. What's that all about? It's a nonsense. Now, the problem you've got is when you go for someone like Pep, you can't just go and get them because they're obviously the best are in work. So you've got to wait, and you've got to potentially negotiate. If you could get him, he would be, I think, I don't think England could afford to turn that down. How he would do, Jeff, on a seeing these players every couple of 3 months rather than on a daily basis, I really, really don't know. As brilliant as he is, I'm not 100% sure how he would get that detailed point across when he's only got them for a few days here and there.
But the same applies to anybody in that role, doesn't it?
It does. It certainly does. But I'm just staggered that it's got to this. However, with someone like him, he's going to cost a lot of money. He's going to want everything his way. Is that right for England to absolutely follow just someone like him and abandon all of the plans that they put in place with Gareth, post Gareth, etc., etc.? So I don't know. But it's a fascinating story. But I don't see why, when back page headlines on some of the press, Jeff, stop messing with us, Pep. They want to know. Hold on a minute. He's in a job. He don't have to do anything, does he?
No,
of course he don't.
The stories that the FA made an quote informal approach to him during the course of the summer, but have heard nothing back and are still hopeful. Well, I'll tell you what, this summer, by coincidence, I asked Miss World to go for dinner with me. Now, I haven't heard back, but I'm still hopeful.
Quite right. I'm sure she'll be in touch. I'm sure she will.
But it's nonsense.
But
if they've made an informal approach, and then they haven't heard back in a few weeks, surely you go back in and say, OK, Pep, or whoever it may be, what are you thinking? Yeah. I looked yesterday. I looked at and for England, one of the leading football nations. I looked yesterday at the French, at the Germans, at the Italians, at the Dutch. They only have people from their own country coaching their team. They've had foreign managers, of course, but in the main, those countries now seemingly only want to employ people from there. So I'm fascinated to know this morning whether or not people would think you should drop everything to go and get Pep, should absolutely down tools on whatever else you're doing and get that guy through the door, or whether or not people think, no, listen, it's the England job is for an Englishman. Well, look, this is how the Manchester City boss responded when asked if he'd be interested in the England job back in August.
I'm really excited for this season is coming, so I'm really happy here. Like every season I need the break, I need it definitely, but after that I charge my batteries and I have the same energy like usual, and I know the competition is coming. I will be who I am, and I'm completely focused on that for respect for Federation, English Federation, especially for my club.
So in August he said nothing. That's the gist of that. But in 2018, yes, it's a while ago, 6 years ago, in 2018, Pep was asked about international football and he said, "It is a dream I have as a manager and a person. He said he wants to be in a position to win the World Cup and the European Championships. He said this publicly. He was then asked about whether that would be as manager of Spain, and he said, I think that is not going to happen because of the issues with Catalonia and the such. So he's made his position absolutely clear. At that time, he said it could be 8 years down the line. Well, that was in 2018, so we're nearly 7 years down the line. He's stated his position there quite clearly, that his dream is to manage in international football.
Well, and I think the World Cup in the States is clearly going to be. I think that's quite a significant one. I mean, look, we've seen Poch take the US job, and I think that would be, for a coach, for the best coaches, I think that would be an exciting prospect to take a serious team to that tournament. So, I get all of that, but honestly, I find it amazing that the accountability for these people who are put in positions to make sure that because you don't want a team treading water, and you don't want a team paddling for months while they're waiting for a decision from Pep and waiting to find out. It's nonsense. It's absolutely crazy, and I'm amazed that they've allowed it to come to this. Yes, he's the best coach I've ever seen. Coach, not manager. Before everyone starts, coach. I've never seen anyone coach teams like the way that he has and does. Can he replicate that with an England group? I'm not 100% sure he can do that. Not 100%, Jeff. Are you?
You can never be 100%. That's for sure. But if you were to pick one manager in the world who you thought had a chance, for me, that would be Pep. And, Jill, who's a regular contributor to the show, has just texted and said, no chance is Pep coming with us. He's playing with us. And the press are creating stupid headlines. You know what, Jill? I often agree with you, but I don't on this occasion. I think there's a great chance. Pep's been 11 years solid in work in the Bundesliga and the Premier League. Prior to that, of course, he always made a point of taking a break after managerial jobs. He said, as I told you a moment or two ago, in 2008, this is his dream. He's out of contract. His mate Taksiki Begiristan is leaving Manchester City as well. There will never be a better opportunity. One thing I would say, Andy, though, is if the FA don't deliver him now, then the people at the FA, their heads will be on platters.
Of course they will as well. And look, and again, and we spoke just before we come on air, Jeff, about how much it would cost the FA to get someone like Pep, for him to have the people around him, for him to make it work and produce his best. I don't know where again, the sort of numbers that we're talking about here, he is a gazillionaire, as you rightly pointed out earlier, but he ain't going to come and do it for nothing, is he?
No, he's not. But you look at and this is not an original thought, it was from somebody who texted in yesterday and said, look at the broader benefits of having Pep. Look at the benefits it would have, at St. George's Park when it came to, coaching there, not just with the guys who are in the squad, but the younger players and so on and so forth as well. And I think it would spark an enthusiasm, a zest around the England team that we haven't had for a while.
I would 100% agree with that. I think if someone like Pep Guardiola get the job, the second he walks through the door and the second he sits them all down in that dressing room to tell them exactly what he's got in store and what he's got, I think the lift those players would get, even great players, big players, I think would be massive, would be enormous.
England and City fans, let's hear from you. Would you like to see him make the move from Manchester City? Obviously from a City perspective, City is still very much hoping that he will stay. And why wouldn't you? But if Pep is indeed to leave City, he would be fancying his chances of winning a World Cup, wouldn't he, with this side? Or is that just an arrogant Englishman once again? 03717 223344. Give us a call. Back page is coming next. And yes, it's Pep and more Pep.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.